we're live.
All right, assalamu alaikum. Black people in America, for those that are listening in other places in the world, in different countries. May Allah be pleased with you all. We are living in a time of complete change. But what I wanted to bring, I got a special guest here tonight. This brother very well versed in AI technology. He has his own ship maker company. I met him at InvestFest. We had talked for a good time, a good young brother. And I'm trying to introduce us to some of the best that we got amongst the Black nation. And he wants to bring in this information and this knowledge to our people. If you have your young people sitting around, your children sitting around at night, I suggest they get a pad and a pen and sit down and take in this information, because each one teach one. So says the most honorable Muhammad Elijah Muhammad. Because a lot of this information, our people like to charge you for it. You got to pay for it, but you can get that tonight. Popkeys. And my good brother, I'm going to have him come in and introduce himself. Before he comes in, I want to open up a prayer in the most holy name of Almighty God, Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, the great Mahdi who was to come and has come to restore we who were lost from our own kingdom of Islam and destroy those that destroyed us. Thou our God, O Allah, we are thy people. Deliver us from our murders. We serve and obey thee all the days of our lives, and we teach our children to submit to thee, to that unequal love and mercy for thou. And thanks to you, Allah, for making manifest to us our enemy, the devil. And help us, O Allah, to live the life and die the death of a Muslim. I bear witness no God but thee. I bear witness the most honorable Muhammad Elijah Muhammad is your last and greatest apostle. Like you, thank you for this day. Thank you for the gift of life. I pray Allah, you move the heart of the devil from thee, as well as the Black nation. I pray Allah, you give us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to come in and build a righteous kingdom, because the earth belongs to the righteous. I pray you give us the wisdom and the strength to take our planet back from the devil. So, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Assalamu alaikum, Black family, Black nation. Welcome you all here tonight. Pray all is well. Stay strong. Stay militant. Stay dangerous. Use your gifts. Young people, get on your purpose. Because I know one reason young people be slipping, because they're not on their purpose. They don't understand their purpose. They're not on it. So you tend to just hang loose. You're on the block, but you don't know what direction that you need to be going in life. And when you don't have a purpose, it's easy to get distracted and sidetracked and get in trouble and all these things. And I also want to give a shout out to a great liberation fighter, which has been known to us. This sister been hunted by us for decades. Shot of Secure. I know a lot of people are posting on it now. A lot of them probably didn't even know the sister, even know her history, till they had to look it up. But this sister has been in the annals of the mind of the true freedom fighters for a long time. And Matula, Shakir, these brothers and sisters have sacrificed their lives, their liberty, their families for us. Shout out to the Black Liberation Army, men that went inside the penitentiaries of America and broke out one of their comrades. Black men and women that organized, went inside the penitentiary and walked her out of the penitentiaries of the United States of America. Sister was wrongfully prosecuted. Didn't have a shred of evidence whatsoever. but they put her before an all-white jury and convicted her. That's why they're so mad at her now, because black people had the audacity to go inside the jailhouses of America and free one of their liberation fighters. These some hell of a black people that had the courage and the forethought to go inside the penitentiary and get her out the country, her and her sister, when they end up in Cuba. Thank the Cuban people, Fidel Castro and the Cuban people, for accepting the sister into their nation and giving her protection and a way to make a living. See, we honor our people the wrong way. We all want to jump on it because it's popular on social media. But all this respect supposed to be given to those that sacrifice their life on our behalf before they leave here. Brothers and sisters, we got to stop doing that. I remember when Huey Newton, Elders Cleaver, Angela Davis, and all of them used to come around to our place of business, the Black Wilson Baker, everybody. And got a chance to meet all of them on a personal level. And when you're doing this type of work, all avenues are closed. The way that you can make a living, you watch day and night, you trail. They try to push you into a box. You got informers placed around you in the fight for liberation, even in the unity movement and all the other brothers and sisters that's coming together, that's in the street organization, just out here. Beware. They're going to send their informers in. This is in the playbook. They're all in our neighborhoods, reporting back to our open enemy. I just want you to understand this. There's a price for fighting for freedom. If you're not willing to make that sacrifice, I suggest you stay out of it. And then when you're moving like this, you got to keep your hands clean. They showed you in the Black Panther movie how they hooked up a brother and turned him to be an informer. They're all in the nation right now. But if you keep your hands clean, there's a way to spot them out. But I won't go into that tonight. You don't need to know everything. But it's our time now to come from the bottom to the top. I got a young brother, has his own company. He's a chip maker. He said he resides in Washington, D.C. So if you all have any questions, once he started speaking to you all, just post it. And I ask the questions because I want you all to learn this knowledge. And you getting it tonight. Don't cost you a dime at all. You dig? Like Cleveland said, a lot of people post to try to tell you how to make money and all this, that, and that, and another. You got to do this to get that. Y'all shut the hell up. Back in my days, especially when they had the Black Panther parties and stuff like that, they had community education centers throughout our community teaching the history to our children and the thing that they need to know to be upright and to take command and control of their own communities. So it's essential that we start learning the knowledge that we need to advance ourselves and develop a protocol so we can start setting up our own community. And start taking charge of our posts, brothers and sisters. It's our time now. We can't depend on no one but ourselves. This is the way it should be for the civilized human being on the planet. America is a land of the corruption. They're so corrupt. They're mixing truth with falsehood. They done told so many lies to the people in this country, and everybody is taking money up under the table, and they're telling us one thing and doing another. We need to separate, get away from these devils, learn how to protect ourselves, defend, teach our children how to think, teach our children how to make money, and first and foremost, teach our children to come into power so we can take over our planet that belongs to us. They're asking about reparation, but give us back what you already got. It's ours. You understand what I'm saying? We want it all back now. So I want to bring in my good brother. He's going to introduce himself because I want to take a lot of time. I want him to have this time to talk to you all and your children. Get your children around and sit them down and let them listen to this tonight. Y'all always complaining about the children. Let's put some knowledge on their cap. So that 7.5 ounce brain develop the intelligence to take over and use the tool that's out here to help us do that. So let's bring in the brother tonight.
Hello.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Alaikum salam, my brother.
Can everybody hear the brother good?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Give me a thumbs up or something. All righty.
Y'all can hear me all right.
Brother, just what I want you, just go on and introduce yourself.
Yeah.
It's going to take over now, brother. It's on you.
Appreciate it. So for everybody out there, I'm Tayo Adesanya. Born in DC, grew up in Chicago, but both my parents was born in Nigeria. Had the pleasure of meeting Pops and his son, Mr. 19 Keys, and in the Bay Area while I was working in Silicon Valley for some chip manufacturing companies. Well, let me back up a little bit and just share a little bit of my journey, because that might help you folks understand kind of how I got to where I'm at now. So, number one, I was a kid that was really, really into music. Not really like as a rapper or nothing like that. I just like to listen to my music really loud. And so, when I was able to drive, I wanted to have 2 subwoofers in my trunk, and I had to figure out how to make that work. So, I went to Best Buy, went to figure out what kind of amplifier matches with those 2 subwoofers, and I was working, felt great, felt good about how I was rolling, but I ran over a speed bump and it kind of cut out a little bit, and I figured something disconnected or something, so I had to go back there and open it up. Now, mind you, I'm 14 years old. I open up the amplifier, and I don't know what I'm looking at. It's a board with all types of chips and circuits and all of that, but I see a loose wire, and I think to myself, this clearly is supposed to be tied down to something, and I just go to look and inspect where that wire was supposed to be plugged into, and I went to like a Radio Shack at the time, like an Ace Hardware store, and I asked them what they could use to put that wire back on the board. They told me it was a soldering iron, something to melt the metal back onto the circuit board. And when I did that, and I closed up the amplifier and I turned it on and it worked, it was a light bulb for me. It was a light bulb for me because it told me at that moment, like, man, that whatever that feeling felt like, the very next closest feeling that I felt around that time was me dunking a basketball for the first time. Because I knew I had accomplished something.
Yes.
That wasn't easy to accomplish. Like, I had to be curious enough to figure that out. And so from that moment, I took all the electricity classes, all the electronics classes. I even started to look into physics a little differently because it had to do with electronics a little bit. And that prepared me as a youngin' to go into the engineering field because I had no fear. I had no fear in what I didn't know. I knew through that experience that I could figure it out. I mean, that's the main core reason why I'm at where I'm at today. And so once I did that, I ended up getting a scholarship to go to Purdue University, but not just like as, an academic scholarship. I was a track and field athlete as well. So I had went to Purdue and I became a Big Ten champion, an All-American, top 5 in the country in high jump.
What were you doing, brother, in track and field?
Yeah, I was doing high jump. I did long jump and triple jump too, but high jump.
How high was you jumping, brother?
I jumped 7'2.5" 7'2.5".
That's pretty good jumping, brother. 7'2".
Yeah. And so while I was there jumping and training, I studied electrical engineering technology, and that's what I majored in. And so here I am, I'm slaving, trying to figure things out in the course books. But I was doing well in track, and by the time I graduated, I had to make the decision on whether I wanted to go pro or stick to this engineering field. And I decided to stick to engineering. I found me a company that wanted to hire me, and they wanted to pay me at the time. This was 2011. They said that, they gave me an offer for $75,000 a year in salary coming out of college. And I took that job because I knew it was much more opportunity behind that job, which was on semiconductor. And I guess I can take this time to kind of explain what a semiconductor chip is.
Take your time, bro. Break that down to us.
Yeah, no problem. So a semiconductor chip is essentially a component that sits in every single electronic equipment in the world. Anything that has a light switch that turns on likely has a semiconductor chip in it. So if you could think of all the billions of components there are in the world, every single chip has a function. It has a purpose. And I learned a lot of the purposes of many different kinds of chips. And in fact, I went to these companies to learn how to sell those functions or those chips to companies that would have to place them on that board, much like that board that I opened up as a youngin' for that amplifier box. Now, the products that I was, in charge of selling at the time were things that power up the devices to things that run the intelligence of those devices, much like the chip that powers your laptop. So if you think about when you go to a Best Buy or anywhere to buy you a laptop, what's some of the first things you start to look at? You look at the speed, you look at the memory, you look at these core features and how that laptop is going to work for you, specific to how you want to use it. And every laptop is different based on the chips that is used to power that laptop. And for me, I became a chip specialist, man. I became one of those guys that could literally build or help companies build anything from computers to cell phones to wearable watches or medical device equipment, things that might go into the military and be used for detection of radars and UAVs. These are things that are absolutely critical to the United States defense infrastructure. So beyond that, I decided, after about 5 years of working at a company called On Semiconductor, I wanted to do the work that I was doing in Phoenix, Arizona, and Silicon Valley, because I felt like Silicon Valley was the NBA of the semiconductor chip industry. That's where Samsung, Google, Meta, all of the top firms are based there. And to sell your chip in something that is going to ship into millions of products, that was a jackpot, right? It don't matter if the chip is 20 cents. If you're selling 30 million of them, that's impeccable revenue. And then imagine having 3,000 chip options that you could sell. Well, things get real spooky real fast. And so, over the course of my 12-year career, I've helped these corporate companies sell over $200 million worth of chips and IP. And I'd like to take some time to break down the architecture of a chip, because it's important. Like, most people, they think of semiconductor chips, and then beyond that, things start to get blurry and confusing. But I think we as a people can really at least understand the building blocks of a chip, because it relates to life and all these other things that happen in the universe. But just for purposes of electronics, I just like to share that.
Share it, brother.
When it comes to a laptop, that core component within the chip that most people think about is called the processor, the CPU, the central processing unit. This is what runs the intelligence of the operating system, like your whole software stack. No one would be able to code nothing if it wasn't for the processing unit that gives you the opportunity to have the software. And I've begun to become a student in what they call intellectual property of chips, which is the processors that power them. But, in the age of AI, what do most people know about? GPUs from NVIDIA. So that's a different kind of chip, right? You have the CPU chip that might be used for the laptop. Okay, now for the data centers, there's been a shift to GPUs, which is short for graphics processing unit. And the graphics processing unit is actually interesting, because when they first made the graphics processing unit, it was something that was actually used for video games and the laptop screens to actually turn the code into pictures so that you can see what's going on, right? And your video games had your first person shooter games and things of that nature. The only way you were able to get that processing speed up so that the game will actually look and move in a real-like manner was based on this GPU architecture that was created to run the graphics. And then what they found out maybe like a decade ago or so is that this GPU is actually also great for training AI models in a data center. So you think about like ChatGPT or OpenAI and Claude and all these different models that folks are using today, they were trained on GPUs to be made possible. And now, every time you want to go on ChatGPT and do a prompt, numbers are being crunched on that data center GPU to give you your answer in response. That's literally how it works. There is no cloud. Cloud is really a data center of chips doing your processing for you. They just send it wirelessly to your device. And so, and I'm giving you guys context in this history lesson just so you understand what I see around me, because this is very important. So as we see this new age of AI building and these companies building and purchasing billions of dollars of chips, they're all buying the same GPUs from the same company. And it turned that company into a $4 trillion company. NVIDIA is now worth over $4 trillion.
Oh, trillion.
With a T, trillion. That's what they're worth today, right now. First time in the history of the planet, a company's been worth that much.
Let me ask you a question. You say they buying the chips?
Yes, they are.
I mean, who making the chips, brother?
NVIDIA is making the chips.
What I thought.
Now, NVIDIA designs the chips, but who's actually manufacturing the chips, or they call it fabricating the chips, because it goes through a fabrication process in like a clean room. Everybody get in that white bunny suit to make the chips. So the companies making those chips are it starts with TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. They're the largest in the world. They have like a 70 to 80% market share on the entire planet's chips supply. So again, NVIDIA might design the chip. They hand that design to TSMC. TSMC then takes that chip and manufactures it for them in a contract negotiation deal. So any given time, TSMC may generate $700 billion in revenue every year. But TSMC, because there's such a concentration in just this one kind of chip that everybody's trying to get their hands on, that's what's, allowed NVIDIA to go from just a, 10 or $20 billion company that they've generated, that kind of revenue, to like generating 100 billion in a quarter, just because of that one demand alone. And so while I was in the Bay Area selling chips and selling processors to chip companies that would use them to make their own chips, I went up the stack, right? So at first I was selling chips. And then I learned about processors and went to a processor company to sell the processors to companies like where I used to work at that made chips. And NVIDIA was a customer, and all these, every chip company buys IP from other companies. They don't do everything themselves in-house, just to let you guys know. They cooperate with other companies and license other people's IP for things that they're not specifically focused on. And I think that's important to understand as a community. Like, it might look like
You lost the sound. Come on, you're getting up too much knowledge, brother. Call him up. Then we can get the brother back in.
There we go.
There we go. That's all right. He popping back.
I'm good. So what I realized is that these companies cooperate with each other to get to their end product. They don't do everything by themselves, even though
Yes.
they are the ones that may be selling the product themselves. They got many partners that are a part of the different building blocks.
Everybody get a piece of the pie. They move it around in a circle.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do, brother. And so me realizing all of the functional building blocks it takes to make a chip gave me the foresight to want to make my own chip now.
Yes, sir.
I have the vantage point of, one, what do the customers need in a chip to do what they are thinking about doing better, faster, cheaper, smaller. And I already established those relationships to be able to make sure that I could procure all of the things necessary to make my own chip. And I had the knowledge to put the right team together of folks that have very specialized disciplines of understanding to do their part. It's almost like community building, but for a very specific purpose, a very specific project. And my focus now is to run these same very AI models in very much more battery constrained devices. And what I mean by that is I'm not really looking to run my chips in a data center.
Sound went out.
The chips in the data center is one kind of chip. The chips that I'm targeting are the chips outside of the data center. The chips that'll run on drones, the chips that'll run on security cameras, the chips that'll run on remote toy car RCs or whatnot. Like, there's a lot of different chips outside of the data center is going to need AI to run on.
Brother,
and I'm providing that technology.
let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
These data centers that I see everybody trying to set up in America, what's the importance of these data centers? What's the function of these data centers?
Everybody's trying to mine and understand data so they can use AI to supercharge their growth and their wealth. And when it comes to corporations, they already got a lot of data, but how to make sense of that data is very important. And so these data centers are being used for them to give them more AI capabilities, more AI features to be able to harness and monetize from their customers.
They require a lot of energy, don't they?
Oh, they require the most energy because of the way that a GPU was architected. Remember, I told you it was not originally designed for AI. It was designed for graphics. They just positioned it for AI, knowing that it takes a lot of power consumption to run these chips. But, you know, they're so after speed and performance that they make the trade-off to just let that power consumption be wherever it has to be, because they need access so much to the AI data generation that they're willing to build very intentional nuclear reactors and forms of energy to support these data centers. But, you know, I have to say it, like, white folks are very wasteful people when it comes to resources. They will do anything they can to be the fastest, biggest, you know, everything big in Texas. Like, just for whatever reason, they want that kind of title. Because there's a complex there. I don't really know if I understand it all the way, but I will say my mind don't really think like that. my mind goes into how can we get the best performance without wasting power?
Yes.
And there's new architectures you can use to do just that without having to use a GPU. So what I've been focused on, Pops, I've been focused on this thing called neural processing units. Not a GPU, but an NPU. I hope y'all write that down. Neural processing units. These neural processing units, they can work like a GPU, but they're much lower power, much more efficient. They can run high levels of AI performance in a faster amount of time. Almost as close to what your brain does. Because think about how powerful your brain, it only runs off 5-10 watts of power. These data centers is taking up 300, 400 watts of power per chip. You put them on a rack, it's millions and gigawatts or whatnot that they're eating up. So for me, my thought was, hey, instead of me competing with these guys on the data center, let me go carve out my new lane, my own lane, where they're not spending a lot of time focusing on, and that's AI at the edge is what they call it. Edge computing. All the computing that happens outside of the data center. So that's what I specialize on. That's what Lola Vision Systems is creating. We're creating a new class of edge computing devices that have post-quantum secure encryption, which only means I can protect myself against a quantum computer attack because of how I designed my chip. I can run all the latest AI models at a fraction of the power consumption because of how I architected my chip. And so, I would implore the kids to take a look at different processing IP components. Remember, I mentioned IP because IP is the same kind of word that they switch around for different processing elements within a chip. So we started with CPU cores that did really good for the laptops and the regular software code. You got the GPUs that do AI training really well. And now we got the NPUs that are even better for efficiency of running those AI models.
The NPU, that's the neural processing units, right?
Yes, sir. You got it.
Right. See, I'm learning something tonight.
Man, everybody got to learn something tonight. I hope, I'm just trying to make sure that folks understand that like these terms are going to be relevant for the next 100 years. They're not going nowhere. And if you heard it here first, I hope that you can take it a step further and learn more behind it. Because that's what I went and got a degree for. But I didn't have to get the degree. You don't got to go to school to get this knowledge. It's now all available to you at your fingertips. In fact, one of my favorite things to do is to take a word that I haven't heard before and put it into ChatGPT and let it break it down for me. Neural processing unit. What should I need to know about a neural processing unit?
Good knowledge there, bro.
It'll just give you a whole bunch of jargon. And whatever jargon you don't understand, you put that word in and you do that again. And you just keep doing it until you start understanding these words that all are adjacent to each other. And now you're just that much more ahead of the curve than anyone else that does not know anything about a semiconductor.
Y'all put that in your notes.
Yeah. So, when it comes to like engineering as a whole, And I don't say everybody got to get into this chip space. I don't think everybody's going to have the same interests as me. But what I will say is that, again, like my passion for music got me into this space. Everyone has their own passion that could be the gateway to more knowledge that could be helpful to the community. And whether it's something that goes down the lines of physics, sciences, chemistry, biology, just the human body and healthcare, or space. The possibilities are really endless. I think you just gotta find that thing that turns your light bulb on, like it did for mine, and then just go deep. Don't be afraid to go deep. What's the worst that can happen? You learn something wrong? I mean, that's not a thing, And even if you did pick something up wrong, you're going to be around it so much, somebody's going to correct you. And you got to have the humility and dignity to be able to accept that and keep going forward. Like I've been doing this 14 years now, and I still learn something new every now and again. So I don't let lack of knowledge scare me from doing the thing that I think is hasn't been done before, at least by our people in this community. I want to build the first multi-billion-dollar chip company in our community, and I have full confidence that I have the knowledge I have full confidence that I can do it because I have the knowledge
Yes,
of
sir.
how to do it. So, and I'm willing to ask the questions.
Ask the
along
key.
the way.
Ask the key, brother. Ask the question.
Yeah.
I see Miss I said, thank you for sharing. A lot of people are thanking you, brother, for sharing this knowledge, and much gratitude
Without question.
for you, brother. Let me ask you this question, brother.
Mm-hmm.
How far are the Chinese ahead of the Americans?
When it comes to this chip design business, when it comes to chip design, they're not ahead.
Uh-huh.
But when it comes to electronic manufacturing, they're far ahead. But there's a difference between the two. One is specific to intellectual property. Remember that word is very tricky because, if you use it in a legal sense, that's one way of thinking of IP. But when you think about it in a chip design sense, that's a different, thing. But overall, IP is IP, meaning it's an idea that's generated that's novel. In America, we have a plethora of novel ideas. And I think we still are the leaders in that. But when it comes to taking that idea and creating a mass production of that idea into a product, that's where China got us by a long shot. And it all stemmed from a bit of our laziness in the past. I think we got very dependent upon others to do what we maybe just didn't have the concern to do at the time. But now we are starting to understand that manufacturing is a backbone that can be built in our communities. And it's not only electronic manufacturing that's a need, right? Or putting chips on boards. We need the welders, the electricians, the people that are making the energy grids. Like, there will always be skills and trades that we're going to need. It's just now we have to think about ways in which we can allow AI to enhance us in those skills. a lot of people talk about AI replacing jobs. I think really we have to think about ways that we can use AI to help us be better at our jobs, to be more knowledgeable about how things work, so that when issues come up, we're the people that they ask to solve said issues because we know how to
Yes,
think.
sir. There you go.
That's what it comes down to. The people that solve problems are invaluable. You're always gonna need somebody that solves problems. So, and the only way you can really get good at solving problems is by constantly trying to solve them. Like it's like shooting a basketball. You only get really good at shooting the ball by
It's
shooting the
practice.
ball. Like
It's practice. Play the game.
you got to play the game. You got to get in there, and you got to get in there and really make an effort. And so I've been sharpening my skill in this chip design thing for 14 years. That's why I feel ready. Yeah. Is there anybody in the chat that got a question or anything that they want me to ask?
Anyone got questions posted? Most of them say, smart brother, we have her grace, and they said, let me see. They have all the tools to build a home, and then solar, one is HIV. Really, most of everybody just sucking up this knowledge, brother. Calling you
Yeah.
the next Elon. They said, how can the family, they want to know how the family can keep in touch. This is so important information because they said, do you have any online teaching community yet? This is what we trying to put together now.
No, I mean, no. Yeah, absolutely. So, me at 19, we used to do these STEM workshops. In fact, that my very first STEM workshop was in Oakland, right off Broadway. And we would have these days where we would bring all the kids into one area, and we'd have a bunch of different stations of activities. We'd have a extracting DNA.
Some people want to know how can they invest, brother.
Oh, that's we're gonna get to that in a second. And so what I was going with that is that with the STEM workshops, there were spaces of opportunity to give these kids their own aha moment. That moment of, oh, this is interesting. I never dealt with this particular type of problem before. And after solving it, you might get that brain kind of burst to make you want to solve some more of it. And so that's what the focus of the workshop was, to inspire the kids to go down these different pathways just based on very intentional experiences, whether we have them learning how to build a website right there on the spot, or, learning how to use AI to code, or, working with blockchain, or using their physical hands to make bottle rockets. All of that is very necessary, but takes very kind of elite skill to be able to develop and learn how to transition into a trade or skill set that people will pay a lot of money for in terms of corporations to help build what they need to build. But as far as, keeping in touch with me, I'm on Instagram at MBA, not NBA. Just to play on words. I went and got my master's instead of playing ball. So MBA, not NBA. On LinkedIn, you type my name, Tayo Adesanya. I'm the only brother that does chip design, so you should be able to see me immediately after you type that in. But yeah, most people can follow my journey on LinkedIn. That's where I post a lot more of my business journey. As far as investing, feel free to, you can send me an email at Tayo, Tayo, at Lola Vision Systems.com. And that's my company name, Lola Vision Systems. And yeah, I mean, we're almost at a point where we have to close off the investments because of how the fundraising rounds go. But for the next 30 days, my company will be at a $15 million valuation cap. For folks that don't know, when you're investing in startup companies, a lot of the early stage startups will make their opportunity to invest in the form of what they call a convertible safe agreement. You can toss that into ChatGPT and look up what those words mean, but a convertible safe agreement just allows it to be a easy mutual exchange of money for the promise of equity into the company once I raise a larger round, just so that you can keep the lawyer expenses fairly low, but reduce the risk for both sides to be able to enter an investment agreement. And so I share that to say that after the 30 days, our valuation will raise because of venture capital investment that we're targeting. But yeah, no, I just I'm here continuing to travel this journey, and I try to just throw some knowledge along the way, because where I'm from, we have this thing called lifting as we climb. And as I'm climbing to get to where I'm trying to go, I try to do what I can every now and again to throw seeds and to pull folks up that have an interest in what I'm doing. And that's why I took the time to of course jump on this podcast with you, Pops, because I think it's important. I mean, I'm in the middle of a bunch of negotiations, a bunch of, conversations, everything from the White House to Silicon Valley. But I make time for my community when I can, because I'm that kind of brother to do so. And I also want to set an example.
Yes, sir.
That even though this might be one of the most technically challenging endeavors, we can do it. It's like when I walk into these rooms, they can't believe who they see. I'm a 6'9", dreads, locked up, and they don't know what hit them. But I do that on purpose because they got to know who we are as people.
Yes, sir.
And it's, I correct them every time. Hey, you play basketball? I used to, but I don't anymore.
That first thing they want to ask you play basketball because you're tall.
Yeah, of course.
Hell,
and I did very well. I played on the USA basketball team. I played in
Yes.
Athens, Greece. I had an NBA D-League contract, and I declined it. I declined it to do this.
That was the right move.
Inshallah. I know it.
I was gonna ask you. You said you and 19 Keys had something put together on Broadway. Whereabouts on Broadway, brother?
Yeah, it was near his shop at the Oak Stop. Oak Stop.
At the what shop?
It's called the Oak Stop. So I thought it was on Telegraph. Sorry,
Telegraph around 17th somewhere.
Yeah,
18th.
is that right there?
Are you still down there?
Nah, so we did a one-off workshop then, and then since then we've done 2 workshops in LA. they want me to take this workshop nationwide, but I just need to get it funded to be able to do that. And I said, and I made a commitment to myself that I'm gonna do a 10-city STEM workshop tour right after I cross this milestone for the company.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely do that because
you have a good support team around you, brother.
It's growing. It's growing.
growing.
I have 5 engineers that I work with pretty regularly. I have a couple support staff that, help with me out with administrative work, marketing work, but it's growing. I think one of the hardest things to balance as an entrepreneur is the assistance you get from others and the expectation that you have to give back on how to repay that work that's done. And we don't talk about this a lot in our communities, but if you don't have the financial resources, how do you make somebody feel seen and a part of the movement to where you're locked in a way that they absolutely understand how they will still benefit despite not maybe having the cash on hand to pay a nominal fee that everybody expects for the work that they put in. It's very difficult to do that as a startup.
I understand, because that's so important.
But it tears companies apart.
Yes.
When you have a understanding, and the understanding changes because people's situations change. And it's very okay to work with somebody and to have them depart at a certain point because of circumstances that may change, whether it's with them and their situation, with how they feed their family, or with my situation and how I not only feed my family, but feed the employees that I'm working with. But at many times where you run out of money, what do you do then? How do you make sure things are still going to be right within your community so that folks don't feel cheated? Like, we always thinking somebody's trying to cheat over on each other, and you may not just have the proper information to understand that, hey, it may just not be enough to go around for a season. So we have to figure out ways to still work with each other. And it may need to be in the form of contractual language. But the contract is only just a tool to communicate what you've actually understood as the agreement. And to have that agreement, you have to have that conversation. And it's going to be an uncomfortable conversation, but we also got to be better at having uncomfortable conversations with each other.
Yes.
That doesn't leave such a sour taste that you damage relationships because you can't manage emotions from the feeling of what has to pertain in that season. Because some of these things are not, definite. Some of these things are linear. And it's been very tough to learn this lesson, but I've gotten in a place where I'm very confident in my team and the agreements that we've struck. And I'm going to add more team members over the next few years, but it's got to be at a pace that I can manage. And so,
yeah, I understand that very well, brother.
Yes, sir.
You said something so important, because you really got to get people that can understand the vision and that could commit to the vision, because I understand that so well. So when we ran our company, brother, we were willing to make those sacrifices as it relate to the capital, the money, and things of that nature. Some people that we had that didn't understand that vision, we'd make sure they got taken care of. 'Cause a lot of times the money didn't come in, but we make sure that we took care of the people that work with the company, but we would make the sacrifice.
Yeah,
You
right.
know, we wouldn't pay ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
If someone has some pressing need, we make sure they get that, take care of that till the money came in. But we have to have people that's committed to the vision to move forward.
100%. Very
Because
different.
the vision you got is so powerful. Because it ain't always about the dollar in the beginning. It's
Yes, sir.
about the back end.
Yes,
And so
sir.
you need people that have that commitment
Yes,
to
sir.
know how to make that sacrifice because we trying to build something where we got ownership and we want to get ahead of the curve. The money is there, but it ain't already sitting there. We got to build ourselves up into that commitment, into the money. And I've been blessed to work with men and women that understood this. Because we had a 25 men what we used to call crack fruit team. And these were the men, if other people fell off, they could step in and still get the job done. So we ain't losing at all. You understand? If the money wasn't there, we would pay our people, but the crack fruit had a better understanding because we were committed to the vision. So that's the reason I asked you, because it's so hard to build. And then you still got family, still got to take care of your own needs and things of that nature. And I know brothers, man, and you know, some people gonna fall out. They'll fall
Yes,
away
sir.
because they can't get the money that they're expecting, but that conversation needs to be had from the top. You
Yes,
know,
sir.
we come in, this is what we're doing, this is our mission statement, this is the direction we moving in. You understand? And so expect things sometimes to go down. The money might not always be there, but we got the vision. You understand? That's the most important part, is stay committed. Man, I don't work and brought in millions of dollars in certain situations. You understand? But I didn't get the money on a personal level. We wasn't
Mm-hmm.
riding no fancy cars and none of that. Because we had a vision and a plan to expand and take over and serve our community and our needs. Our money was on the back end. You understand? So with your mind and with your talent, brother, this is the problem in our community. We so stuck on me, my, and I. But we
Mm-hmm.
complain when we get mistreated or we got to go knock on somebody else's door asking for a job. Or we
Yes,
don't know
sir.
how to make that sacrifice. My
Yes, sir.
life, my death, my prayer, my sacrifice. You have to make a sacrifice to get ahead. That's the key. You
Yes,
understand?
sir.
That is the key. We got to learn how to sacrifice. You
Yes,
understand?
sir.
That's the difference between other people. They make
Yep.
that commitment, they sacrifice, man, and look up, they rolling. But we'll chop our heads off before we even get started with that jealous and envy. I want to be the man. I want to be in charge. All this old type of stuff. Uh, Somebody come make you an offer. You understand? And we used to
Ego.
put our people under contract, though, brother. We would send them out and work for other companies doing what they were doing, that where they couldn't hire our people. You couldn't steal our talent from them. But we'll go into that another time. But I know exactly what you saying, brother. Black people got to start understanding the bigger picture. You
Yes, sir.
understand? We got to see the big picture, not that little short term stuff, but we want ownership. That where we can get our children and educate our children to be owners and rulers and get ahead of the curve in America and ultimately on the planet Earth. Because you look at Africa, the way they moving and the resources they're developing, and so will soon have their hands on, and we can step in and help develop all of this. You understand? You're a brilliant, brilliant brother, man. And you're going to need, once you get rolling, you're going to need a strong security force as well, brother. I can see that coming down the line, brother. Anything else you would like to add on, brother, before we cut out tonight? I'm so glad to have met you with the grace of Allah. It was meant to happen, and This is what we got in our community, black people. We got the young guys in our community with the brain power. We just got to learn how to find one another, learn how to support one another. That's the key. You understand? Start tapping into one another.
What I would say is that there are others like me that don't know we exist.
Yes.
And it takes that uncle, that auntie to invest at an early age into that child, to give them the confidence that I had to be able to pursue my dream and my passion. So I would just implore everybody out there to just pay attention. There are always signs of greatness before they're great.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
That is so powerful. That's why you had to study your children and look at their gifts and see their talent. Because each child carry a different gift. And that's so. But one thing that I know that other people do outside our community, they look for our talent. You understand? They wise enough to look for the talent in our community, and they'll snatch you. They'll give you a contract and bring into their corporation to enhance their things that they have going on in their ownership and help them to develop what they got going on. And we got to turn that table around. You know, we need a tech hub in our community.
Yes,
run from the bottom to the top, black owned and operated. But at the same time now, we'll hire anybody that got the talent and want to work with us.
Yeah,
as long as we in charge. That's the key.
That's
you understand?
Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that at all.
And I mean, that's business.
It is.
We work with anybody.
Just like they
do. We good.
Just like they do right now. I work for 4 different companies.
Yeah.
3 of them generate $6 billion in revenue every year.
Yes, sir.
And they were paying me pretty handsomely. You know, I got to travel the world and things of that nature, but
yes, sir.
Really what I was doing was learning on their dime.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with taking a job and learning on their dime.
That's right.
The infrastructure is there for you to learn.
OJT,
without risking your own dollar to be able to create something. You want to just be ready to create.
That's right.
I got to jump, but I appreciate your time, Pops.
All right, I appreciate you coming on, brother. But we're going to stay in contact because I'm going to bring you back again to come back before the people. But the brothers and the sisters are thanking you highly, brother, for being on here tonight, brother. You much appreciated, much love, brother, and keep up the good work. Thank you, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much.
Good night, soldier.
Good night.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Miss Queen, I seen your message. Make sure that you send that email back out to me again, sister. Because I think I looked for it the other day. I didn't see it. But this is the way we're moving, black people. This is the direction that we want to go in. We want to bring this knowledge to you. We want you to tap into it. But we want to develop ownership. We want to work, support one another. Sometimes we had to make sacrifices in order to raise ourselves up from the bottom to the top. This is takeover time. We tired of being on the bottom. We tired of our children being miseducated. This is the fine young man that got this knowledge. You understand what I'm saying? That can help us uplift our community, can get our young people, can hire you. And let's get into the game. All this other stuff don't even matter. All this foolishness that we tapping into. See, our young people don't have anything to tap into, a lot of them. like he say, when he found that piece on that speaker and put it back together, a light went off in his head. You understand what I'm saying? Then he got on his purpose. Our children are being dumbed down and dumbed down. They sit in the streets of America and not being able to tap into their gifts, because all of them got gifts. You got gifts. We just got to learn to close the gap and work together in a comprehensive way. And let's take over. We ain't got no business being on the bottom, black people, at all. So make sure y'all get some of that gold water. I done put my gold water already in my cup. Keep it rolling. I take one of these. There's sea moss and sports moss. I take one of each morning. Keep Popkeys rolling. But I bring you the knowledge that we can use and elevate on. That's the key. And like you say, if you don't understand the word, that's use chat BTT, whatever you call it. You understand? Let's roll. Let's take over, black folks. What we waiting on? We got it already. So, as I say, Muhammad. I say Muhammad's got the devil on the run. That's right, run, devil, run. 2, 3, 4, the devil got to go. And make sure y'all share this and hit that like button so that algorithm can keep it up there on that YouTube where people can see it, because sometimes they send it to the back because this knowledge be so powerful. They don't want everybody to tap into it. But much love to you all to come on tonight. It's takeover time. Run, devil, run, Miss Tia Juliet, but it's on the run. You understand? You need to do a morning drill, Pop. Well, I teach all of that, but some of this information on this podcast, there's a lot I can teach you. By the grace of Allah, we're going to get this information out. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I also do consultation. Now y'all want to tap in and get some of that knowledge, right? See, that's been most of the problem for most of us, is getting the capital. You know, I've talked to some people, they wanted to invest. That's what they say. But once you tap into them and get to talking to them, somebody else get in their ear and they back out on you. You understand? I talk to many people. Just like we want to get that Superman coffee that 19 Keys got. Manufactured and produced and owned by black people. You dig? Man, we want to step up against what they call the Starbucks. We can franchise that out and have ownership. You got a franchise over, you got a franchise over there in various states in America. Black owned and operated from the top to the bottom, highly secured. Ain't nobody gonna come in and threaten us and take a damn thing. That's why I asked my brother, you gonna have eventually, once he get things running, you're gonna have to have a security team. You got to have an army so we can protect our home. There ain't gonna be no problem with that. You understand? We train our men and women up on how to do those type of things. We dealing with technology. We got engineers. We got marketing teams. How in the hell are we gonna lose with the stuff we use, black folks? It's takeover time. So thank you for coming in tonight. Appreciate it. Much love. Until next time, black folks. Stay dangerous out here, because the devil is running wild. They running around here murdering people left and right. You understand? They got nerve to talk about the black community. We ain't running up in no damn churches. We ain't riding in a damn boat, people sitting on the dock on the river having a good time. Ex-military men running around here gunning people down, and they try to make excuses for them. No, stay vigilant. Be careful where you go. Stay vigilant, because they got us in their eyesight. Well, we got them in ours too. takeover time. Assalamu alaikum.